on
Yes,
page.
sir.
We're alive.
All right, folks, we are here to wrap up our budget memo conversation as those are due to be sent out today. And so I appreciate everybody working on that while I was busy with some other meetings today. And we're just gonna spend the next 25 minutes, 30 minutes or so dialing it in before my chair's meeting at 4:30. So with that, I don't wanna burn clock unnecessarily talking. So where are we with this process? I know that we had found a lot of stuff agreeable. We had a couple of things that were still up in the air. Which portion are we?
We haven't shared.
Well,
Oh, I thought you were going
we
what we
discussed-
did yesterday.
Well, we never took a committee position on anything.
no, so
Correct.
to let you know what I have done, I've taken all of the notes that we had from yesterday of the things that we thought that we would be a yes on. We have a bunch of things that we did not make a final decision on in any way, and we haven't voted on anything, this is all kind of where we might be. I organized them into lists that you're not looking at, but they go right along with the spreadsheet, they're all in order. So I think it might be helpful to go through them and first start, if it's amenable with the two of you, and go through the list of things that we touched on here that we thought might be a yes for the committee. And then do we have to thumbs up or thumbs down each line item?
Yes.
I think
Okay.
we should just go through them. I mean, especially
So
the things
here.
that were seemed favorable, I think that would be great.
Okay, so here,
I need to interrupt because Ashlyn got back to me about the budget language on pensions. I don't think the committee should know about that, so when we come to the
Yes.
pensions portion, I'll read you, or actually I'll forward everybody what she wants.
okay, yeah, I think that's what's on this list. So if we go through this list of things, and then we can do the thumbs up, thumbs down, because I think we were all I think we were amenable to these two. Do we want to discuss each one in case, just to make sure, or?
If you're talking about being amenable or not amenable, my distinction here is that the three of us have discussed things, but the committee has not weighed in at all on any of them, so we don't know.
Didn't, I thought we
We did
discussed
that,
this at
we
committee
did this for a
yesterday.
while yesterday.
But I don't think anybody gave, like, I'm amenable.
I definitely distinctly remember having a fit myself.
Yeah. I think I think we discussed certain items and that our final, yes, I'm cool with that, or no, is gonna happen right now as we go through the list. And then I will
Okay,
either,
well,
I've got a question.
Great. Let's,
Alright.
so let's just start going line by line from the
Okay.
top
From the top down?
well,
of the list that she has here with the
she's got a
favorable.
different list.
Yes,
than-
sorry,
Don't
okay.
worry. Please drop the table.
yes,
So we're gonna work from the lines here. We will identify the line and the number off the bucket, because we have a bucket and things that we are perceiving as favorable based on the conversation.
We don't have line numbers.
You don't just go with lines based off this.
mhm.
Do we have any more copies or are we out?
I don't think
Oh, thanks, Autumn. I can go grab it off the machine. I'll look on Bob's.
So
email.
VT Access Network then, start with that? or-
Yes, please.
Just tell me if you think it's gone there.
Yeah. And then, so that was the 13, excuse me, 1.35 million. I know I found that favorable, it seemed like,
Yeah. me too.
thank you.
Right, if there's, I guess when we're going through these, if there's anyone who objects, then maybe that's a good time.
Wildlife fire program, 2.75 million. Any objections?
Will they be able to utilize all that? Do you know?
I mean, it's a Charles Martin request and he is pretty diligent in
Yeah,
his
very
appropriations.
Good. All right, yeah, I'm into that.
What do you want?
Urban Search and Rescue?
Yep, 950 for search and rescue. Any objections? Vermont Broadband Association, for broadcasters, excuse me, Broadcasters Association. That is 250,000. The voluntary income tax assistance, which is 548,000.
Oops.
What-
Where are
What's
we?
what's the new staffer?
We're
Is that what that?
missing a line or something.
Oh, you gotta jump down.
To manage.
You gotta jump.
Yeah, no,
down.
I'm
Oh,
going.
right here.
Yeah, I'm going through the stuff that like it seemed was more favorable. Excuse me, would you just like me to just go down the sheet like one by one or stick with
You can
these?
jump around.
Let's start with the favorable.
Okay. So that lands us at 548 on the volunteer.
Can you just refresh us what that was?
Full-time positions for tax assistance.
Instead of 3/4 time.
Yeah.
They would like everybody to be full-time so they can go to more regions throughout the state.
Gotcha, right?
So it's just more of like kind of a reclassification.
Sounds good.
Then. RPC funding, 7.7 million. Next, NAPTA. Reductions.
7.7.
After the VCJCs.
What is that again?
RPC funding about halfway down, Representative.
Yeah,
What is VAPDA?
yeah, what-
That's the association for the statewide.
Planners and
Planners and
developers.
developers.
So,
Oh, planning
yeah,
development,
we want that.
Yeah, this is the RPCs. Okay.
Regional Planning Commission, RPC.
Correct.
And we're kind of in an RPC bucket as a whole here.
yeah,
So the municipal technical assistance program, which is also about to request for 3 million.
yes, we need that.
Nice.
No.
The brownfield assessment grants,
That's cool that we are going higher than the governor. I like.
it's the request. I find it amenable as long as you folks do. I ask for the committees.
Yes. Again, I think
And that's to help the brownfields, we're talking farmers.
Why do you think it's good? Because it's
No.
higher than
No,
the government?
because the brownfields are, no.
Because
I'm being
That's
serious.
actually
It's 'cause it's a
for
good
development
investment.
For,
Brownfields.
ground that has been.
Yeah.
Negatively impacted by chemicals, things
Oh,
like that. It's like soil remediation,
Yes.
For future development.
industrial
Yes.
areas, quasi-industrial.
Thank you very much,
areas.
Adam. Appreciate it.
So-
Hoover's on hand.
So yesterday, somebody mentioned that one of these things was a loan-based thing, and I wonder if is that right? This is what I was talking about, that one of these things was intended to be a loan program.
Yeah, there is a loan program in there, and that's probably that is cleanup. One is assessments, one is cleanup. I think cleanup is the loan program.
So I envision this being a loan that you don't pay back because you're agreed to do something else. Build, yada, yada, yada. Is that component of it? Do we know?
I mean, the cleanup portion is rolled into the cost of it.
I guess what I'm saying is I think we should look at the stuff as money that's spent. We're probably not gonna get back.
I think that's like a deeper policy question for the.
Yeah.
For now, we're just making a recommendation for the development of the 2026 budget.
So you're saying yes to both the 1 million and the 3 million?
I mean,
That's what we've all agreed on. Like, I just wanna make sure I've got my green go on.
And if anybody needs me to find the language that backs that up.
And then you have this, the infrastructure sustainability fund. That is also that is a program that is there to support the infrastructure that's necessary for continued housing development in areas that does not have infrastructure.
It seems like there was an article in Digger or something yesterday or the day before, that a lot of towns that aren't looking to have anything built are laying that sort of process of permit approvals.
I mean, they can choose to or not to. What this would
Yeah.
do is help the ones who are looking to do it, help them do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
Worst case scenario, they don't.
Vermont Youth Council, 119,000, just shy of 120,000.
That's peanuts.
Youth and government engagement.
Yeah, sure.
Get them early.
No objections. The pilot special fund, that is what Doug Farnham was in here talking about last week to help municipalities offset the lost grand list capacity tax revenue from parcels that were vacated by flooding and other,
Oh, right.
yep. So it's basically turned in just until the properties are uploaded. Great. The Vermont Metal Program, $1,000.
Oh, yeah,
We're down
Way
to
at
the
the bottom.
veterans, way at the bottom.
Vermont Metal. Yep. $1,000.
We have the governor's Veterans Advisory Council, $2,000. Showing no objections. Veterans Day Parade, $7,500.
did Bob Burke get anything to you on that?
Yes, you
Yeah.
missed that part of the committee meeting today, but yes, he responded to me. The Veterans Day Parade, you're correct, is run by Scouting of America and it's in different towns every year. 2024, it was in Brandon. And the Vermont Medal Program, there's 2 medals. I sent everybody the
Saw
application
that.
form if you know somebody who is eligible. And there's a presentation ceremony in the State House once a year for that, or it can be mailed to a veteran or their next of kin. Did you have one more question about?
But so it's I guess my question on that would be, so is the 7,500 still valid? They use it,
Yes, it is.
they inject that with that event every year, in other words.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Noted, thank you.
American Legion Boys and Girls State, 10 grand.
10 Gs.
What
Yep.
does that look?
Get them early.
It is.
Boys State, Girls State,
Yeah, it's a high school program.
I didn't know it had anything-
Involve students in the legislative government process.
I didn't know that one had anything to do with American Legion. I just said
Yep.
it was-
There's
I didn't know it was
the- yeah.
Boys and Girls State.
There it is.
Bias.
Yeah.
I have no idea either, I just know it's hooked onto it.
Yeah.
Couple of presidents have come out of that.
Yeah, I'm sure it was probably the organization that helped create the entity or the concept of it
Yeah.
back in the day.
It's been going on for long.
Okay, and so here are the pieces that you folks took testimony on yesterday.
Yes, and
The visas.
Domingo has some additional information, she said on these items, the visas, visas.
So I've sent everybody the language from the treasurer's office about the budget for the pension programs. They've also offered to come in at some point and give us a pensions 101 update, since many members have not dealt with these before. There was a question about employer annual charge for teacher healthcare, which she has spelled out in this email. That explains what that is.
Yeah.
And
Yikes.
the new teacher healthcare assessment is billed to supervisory unions. It's quite involved, her explanation, so I'm trying to distill it for your purposes. And we're required, as of 2022, we were required to pre-fund those other benefits.
Yeah, it's part of the pension reform package.
Right,
Mhm. This is a
so,
significant component of property tax.
great.
Shay. I'm sorry, I'm so cooked.
Don't, it's okay, I am Shay, it's fine. So I'm wondering, for instance, this Feaster's healthcare and medical benefits, the $79,952,589, that is not, that's something that we're obligated to pay.
Right.
So there's no point even.
They all are like
Right.
statutorily
We-
obligated.
Right, right.
Yes,
Yeah.
and so I think we're fine with
These
all
aren't
of
new
these as a
money.
group.
Yeah,
But-
these are obligations.
Right.
Also, we can't say no,
Right.
I mean, we could say no, but it's not gonna have any impact there.
They're
We're
gonna-
required
they're
by law.
Just gonna put it in anyway.
Okay, so this is just kind of a performative
So what
moment.
What am I
So-
hearing here?
Yeah,
Is
you're
it
doing
a
We're gonna say yes to
a
all of it,
recommendation
because we
that
must.
Rebecca?
To all of those.
I just wanted one person to talk at a time.
What I was gonna say is with those pension obligations, they are Representative Waters Evans is correct that those things are things that need to be funded anyway. So barring any objection, I would move that we accept all the treasurer.
All those must pay
Will
bills.
they tell us what
Yeah.
the dollar amounts are eventually?
It's in
They're
There,
there.
we have
Oh.
the dollar amounts there. Sorry, your spreadsheet is an old one. If you do not have dollar amounts on it.
It's okay, keep us in the dark, it's all right.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter, we're obligated, right?
Write a check.
And we have, and the numbers are on the budget memo, as soon as it's done, it will be.
What are the, so for those four, what's the numbers real quick, the top four?
3,000,000, 1,000,000, 212,000,000, 3,000,000, 79,000,000.
It's actually 2.8,
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of
it's closer
points.
to 4.
Closer to 80.
I can give you the real.
What's the grand total for all five of those components?
Don't know.
Just shy of $300 million.
So it's a chunk of the budget.
Yeah.
It's 1/27 of the budget.
Well, this is also one of the biggest things that this committee has under its charge is the solvency and stability of our public.
No, I get it, I'm just making a statement,
Kind of big.
It's big.
Yeah.
because if you think about it, it's a third of
And again.
a billion,
Yes,
and there's 9 billions
correct.
out there that roughly we're dealing with.
And these are some of the bigger ones, but
Plus or
it
minus.
is the solvency and security of our retirement program for our public sector employees, so.
Tis what it is.
So let's give it a hell yeah.
Thank you for your enthusiasm, Representative Hoover.
Sorry,
Representative Hoover.
explanation.
I mean, it is, but it's kind of a mixture too, when you get, particularly with the teachers. The healthcare problem hasn't been solved there yet. State employees in the municipal are self-funded, so what they spend, they end up making up in rate increases the next assessment period, but teachers, they're still going through insurance.
I also wanted to point out one thing, which is that actually the Vister's operating budget in theory is not something we're beholden to.
Wow.
Chocolate.
Holy
Thank
cow.
you.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Ah.
Black raspberry.
Feel free to just
Raspberry.
Vanilla.
Is there another black raspberry?
There's chocolate.
Raspberry down here for anyone?
Sweet. Very kind of you.
You guys need a
Cupcake.
Dark chocolate.
Are we obligated to leave a tip?
Maybe $1.35 million.
Oh, geez. Well,
Did
Oh, that's
Autumn,
right.
Autumn, did you get
I'm
one?
glad you remember.
That's right.
This is actually.
There's an extra vanilla.
All right, thank
Thanks,
you
guys.
so much.
Enjoy it.
Brilliant, you
We have
guys.
an extra vanilla if you'd like one.
Pretty good. Amy.
Okay.
Smooth.
talk about leverage.
Right, what I was saying,
That was very, very kind.
That was
okay, that
clever.
was the most wonderful interruption. I don't mind it. So the Vister's operating budget, the $3,820,073,073, that is not something that we're obligated to, but we don't really have any detail about what makes that up. Just wanted to clarify. The other ones are the pension things. One of the categories is the Vister's operating budget. And that is the one, the medical and healthcare benefits, the Vister's, VEMR's and VSER's, those 4 things are the pension things and the benefits. But the one thing I'm saying that is not something that's kind of predetermined and legislatively mandated that
It's sort of
we
an
fund
operations
is the
responsibility.
operating budget.
My
That's all.
understanding was they were all operating budgets, Beasters, Beamers, and Beasters. And then there's this,
Oh, yeah, and then the benefits. Okay.
yeah,
Anyway.
Yeah, it's all, it's sort of like. Then it's just sort of like a line.
Can I
Um,
ask a question?
Yes, please.
When it says liquor, this is on a different topic, a liquor control fund transfer to general fund? Is that,
we heard about that.
we did, and is that
Yes,
money
from
that's gonna,
Wendy Nunn.
that's that one time?
Every year is a transfer
Okay,
from the enterprise fund to the general fund. This is that.
so this is, we're not spending that money, the money's coming back in.
Well, it's
Oh,
going
it's
from
its
one bucket
balance.
to another. It's going from the profit and loss fund
To the general
to the
fund.
general fund. and this is the one you may recall that is actually, they're filling a hole that was unknown in the budget or in that fund with a one-time. And so normally that is a bigger number.
So is this a whole or is this a profit? Oh,
That's the
profit,
profits.
that's the profit.
It would be larger.
Typically, it would be larger, but there was that unknown liability.
So we would agree with that one, correct?
Mhm.
Okay.
Those are all the ones that we
Yeah.
were tentative yes on here.
And then we have the no position currently on doulas because we've taken no testimony on it.
That's a no.
But that's a no position. Is what we were going to recommend to the committee because it's something that we know the Senate is gonna take testimony on and put into the OPR bill that we're there. We just run way too dive into. So it is something I think is a worthy consideration, but we've taken no testimony, so the recommendation is no position. Make sense?
Yes.
Sorry.
Not yellow.
The same for the next.
And then the same thing with the request for the mental health executive. That was the one of the sort of requests that came
Late
out of
minute ask.
conversations very recently. We understand that it is something that seems to be necessitated by acts that are in place, but again, we haven't taken any testimony of it,
Okay.
so. The need is realized, but we haven't taken any, so no position is the position. Moving down to the early childhood educators, which is a bill that I sponsored. It is a component of the childcare professionalization development. That was something that before the education reform weight and gravity was known and realized we planned on taking up for extensive testimony. But since we had not, the requests in there, which are enumerated, I wanted to recommend a no position. Because we haven't taken testimony on it.
So you're saying no to those three?
Yeah, these are
No
all no
position.
positions. This is like, we haven't taken testimony, we're not saying yes or no.
Okay.
Right, it's sort of, this is a position of, I think indifference is the wrong word, just saying yes.
We're agnostic.
Right. There we go, sir. Thank you. You're completing my thoughts.
Don't have to put religion into it.
Oh, jeez.
And then there's the 1.5 for the voter guides. 1.5 million. I know that that was something that folks were not really agreeable to, so we have that down as a not recommend.
Okay.
I know it's something the secretary would really like to do.
Wait a second. Voter guides like what we, the digital one?
No, she wants to
Printed
her to
versions of
mail them to every voter.
So that's a no.
Did
Well,
anybody,
hold on, we got a question.
did anybody dig into the question about where the positions actually come from for the places that are?
It's in the miscellaneous elections draft, but it's something that we, we understand the concept, we know very little about, application of it, and right now, Purposely avoid it.
I was just gonna say that the Secretary of State included a little postcard with a QR code that went to the voter guides, they're all online. It kind of achieves what is up there, the only thing is that there's not total access to everybody, say if you don't have a cell phone, or you don't know how to use the QR code.
Oh, you're saying as a benefit of the analog, because people want digital. No, it's
Yeah, I think
valid.
there's pros and cons, but with the budget being tighter this year.
Mhm. And that's sort of just like the hard conversation right now.
Yep.
Is, cause if we, let me riddle me this, committee. We're talking about it in our elections bill. The provision still exists in the election. Do we want a no position until we know what we're doing with the elections bill?
Probably.
That's a good idea.
I'd be willing to hear it out.
Well, I wonder, the Secretary of State also outlined budget considerations in that packet about our role in the redistricting process, and this money would be considered for that. You know, like say if we are involved in the mapping, what that license would be. I can't remember what the other budget stuff that she laid out, but.
Yeah, no, there's a couple of things. Yeah, Representative Waters and Senator.
It does seem like a lot of money. Seems like a lot of money for paper that maybe people won't use. I also, though, am curious. I would like to find out more before we say a firm no, because I'm curious about the impact that the digital voter guide had, because if there is some kind of indication that it improved voter turnout and engaged more voters, that is something that I would like to hear about. Because that I believe is probably voter education leads to more voter participation, which is what always the goal is. So maybe we're a maybe.
Maybe we're a maybe.
Well, that would be a no position for the sake
Correct.
of this moment.
I also wonder, if it would have helped, with the Benningham situation. Because a lot of the voters reached.
Not in this case, probably, because
Because-
that was a line division.
I know, but I mean, they may have recognized that they were on the wrong widget with the candidate.
Right.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, no, and that's a big fat like theoretical maybe. Representative, go.
I think I had my hand up earlier, so I just wanna say no to something because there is no money in the budget to spend discretionarily, if that's even a word.
It
We
is.
have no discretionary money. And we really need to think about want versus need
Mhm.
in this moment. The
That's a good point.
legislature, the state, we are in a totally different situation than we were a year ago. There is no extra money, and I would really rather see money go towards something else than printing more paper. So, thank you.
No,
Hearing that.
okay. So. That is very good point. I mean, did we need to start having difficult conversations
Yeah.
about how we are allocating dollars this time?
Well, this has only just begun, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know that it has even.
Well, this is the beginning of, who had their hand up first, Sandy?
I would agree with what Lisa has said, and also, as a past member of her advisory committee, we talked about doing something like that, but more of like running one-page ads in newspapers, like the major newspapers of, you know, the voter elections coming, just some basic facts of check your, meet with your town clerk, make sure you're on the check, you know, just some basic stuff for people, because I agree with you, when it comes to the codes, you're talking, the population of Vermont, our oldest population is 65 and over. They don't have cell phones. They don't know how to use a QR code. So you're spending money on stuff that's not gonna benefit the majority of our voters. So I would say no for now on this. Like,
And this is just a preliminary conversation. Anyway, so somebody can be speaking down the road. Okay, so
Is that gonna go in the no category or the no
That's-
position?
Do a thumbs up or thumbs down?
yeah, that seems to be like it's going into the no category, so the question is right now to say no to the $1.5 million.
Okay. For Vermont Secretary of State.
Is
voter
that
Voter guide.
voter guide?
Yeah, yep, no.
The
Yeah,
no
yes.
category.
You're like a gladiator moment.
I know.
Wait,
I know, too.
John, okay.
Alright, next up.
So now I think we go back here and then we've got this little handful of things that might be a bigger So the ones that we hadn't really touched on quite enough. Yeah, the maybes, we had the NOFA Vermont Procreation Farm Share.
Yes, so the conversations that we were having around these, I know that we had asked the ag committee to take a look at these and they found them favorable.
All four of those?
Mhm.
They did?
They did,
Even the restaurant one?
yes, but that doesn't mean we.
I just wanted to explain one quick thing about the restaurant program. It is very specifically it's a federal program that already exists.
Yeah, I only did about a 75% accurate explanation. I only updated it with one program. Sorry.
That's okay, just to be clear right now, it's not, you can just take, let's say you have $100 of SNAP benefits and you can go to at the farmhouse downtown and spend 75 of it on burgers. It's not like that at all. You have to specifically qualify for age and certain disabilities so that you can use that money if you can't cook or don't have a kitchen. And it's a limited menu at certain places. So it's
Can't go get prime rib at the 99 necessarily.
it's
Well, you're
really
only getting a reimbursement to a certain.
right, and
Okay.
it's just to use for people who meet certain qualifications already. And it's not just a free for all, anybody can spend this money whatever they want,
So there's a lot of stipulations on it.
correct?
Cause the only reason I chimed in was because interestingly, how constituents got a hold of it, I got a number of people hit me up going, really? And I'm like, we'll see. You know?
It's people who are older and people who
Yeah.
have disabilities.
Okay.
Very
No,
clear.
go on. Thanks for the clarity.
For the SNAP program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you qualify.
No, that's good. That gives me clarity to go back to people to go, look, it's not just the wholesale.
No.
You can sit down and tuck the napkin in your shirt and have the 5-course meal at the Windjammer or whatever.
Impacted to some degree by the move to motels where there are no facilities.
I didn't hear you.
Motel program goes up, no facilities to cook. This is a stopgap for some.
Correct. Okay, so the position, sorry, Sandy?
Acronym for SNAP?
Supplemental.
Nutritional
Assistance program.
Yes.
Assistance
Thank
program.
you. I
Thank
can't even
you.
grab that
At least
one.
that worked anyway.
The ones who brought us
Good
ice
teamwork,
cream.
Andy. Prompt Leona.
But we also can pick these apart by one, like we don't.
But you said we did ask Ag for
We asked ag because we didn't really have bandwidth to dive deep
Yes, no,
into
they did
this.
the real work on that. And like,
they were 100% in the affirmative.
When we asked them to do it, I did ask them to take a portion of our payload for a little while. That would also be respectful of the work.
Yeah, their wall's thinner than ours. I think.
Okay.
So that was a yes.
I just would like to offer up that I don't think if we are going to be cutting things or saying no to things, I don't think feeding people should be something we say no to.
Valid point as well. Okay, so, and this is just a recommendation going to the appropriations committee with the structure of the budget. So with that, could we just take a unified position as a whole?
So that's for those 4.
Yes.
Yeah.
All of those,
If it's all of them or nothing, then I'm up.
yes. So, okay, so those will be,
Those are go.
Yeah.
And that starts with the NOFA.
Yes. Yeah. You got it.
here. All right, the CJCF.
Did you skip that?
Oh,
Yes.
no, I did not. No, no. Okay, the 250 for the request for 2 full-time staff members for the ethics commission.
At this point, I'm saying no.
Yeah,
Yes, is that just a hand or a vote?
It's the hand to speak.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah,
Yes.
I don't think that particularly at this moment in time, I don't think that it's a good idea to pass a law, which started in this committee, went through all the appropriate House, Senate, Governor, all of it last year. We created these responsibilities for the Ethics Commission. And then to now say, you have to do this, but we are not gonna pay for it. It seems hypocritical. It seems like it's cutting this program off at its knees. It makes the whole exercise of having an Ethics Commission seem like it was all just for show and that we're not really behind it. And I personally am truly behind it. And I think that there was a real need for it on a municipal level. I know the director of the Ethics Commission said that one of the positions is for municipal ethics support and then the others was for the remainder of it. I know people are saying no, but I would really urge you to at least consider saying yes to half of it so that one position can be funded to help this, because if they don't get the money, then they are really not gonna be able to perform the function that we provided. We demanded that they do, we mandated statutorily that they do. And at least the municipal ethics portion of it, which the director has testified before, is where they get the bulk of their requests for advice, which is their job to advise on this. I think that at the very least, we should say we could recommend funding one of those positions. That's what I have to say today.
I just wanna say the reason I'm voting no on this or recommending no is because I did not vote for the ethics bill to begin with last year, so I am not being hypocritical. Just wanna put that out there.
You are being consistent.
Thank you.
Representative Pistol, then Representative Hoover.
The reason I said no is not knowing the whole story behind it, but also because we haven't taken a position on the bill that's been brought before us, so.
This isn't
That's a different
separate.
conversation.
That's a different,
This is not.
that's an amendment to the bill.
That is.
So no matter what we do with the money, this bill, whatever we do to the bill doesn't affect this.
Correct.
Separate.
Okay,
Yeah, that is
that's
a
why I said no,
vibrant- yeah.
because
Great question.
that would be my vote there. Okay,
Yeah, to
okay.
provide you from some background,
Okay.
last biennium, we passed a law, or we passed a bill that part of it created the responsibility for the Ethics Commission to hear and advise about municipal ethics complaints. And this is to staff someone to give and provide that advice that we said they should provide.
Yes.
I agree with Shay's compromise.
So.
Split the difference, you
If
mean?
I heard you correctly, Laura, you're making a motion to support the municipal position.
Or one position that they can split half municipal, half whatever else they need, or, you know what I mean? I don't,
Support one position.
yeah, support one.
One FTE.
They asked for two, if we can do it at the very least one, I think it's imperative that we do so, yes.
And they can't handle it with their current people on board.
That's what they're saying.
Well, yeah.
Representative Bodie.
And I remember them saying that last year as well, and I believe the appropriation got stripped from the bill.
Oh, it did.
Yeah.
Okay. So the motion right now is to
Or to one to
move forward with the recommendation being one FTE, not two FTEs. Can I please see thumbs in the affirmative for one FTE?
Look, lowering it from half of it, 50%. Yeah, right. Gotcha.
Yes. So, one FTE is.
Not much.
No, but it's
Just
part of
saying.
the process. We are processing the process.
Okay.
Okay,
Or you
now
could
this
use
is
using the pruners that.
Correct.
More
CJC,
like
the Criminal
cutting
Justice
here.
Council conversations within the line items with the curriculum request. Representing,
I am trying to decipher that right now, and if you recall, the slide deck doesn't exactly match what their asks were. It's quite confusing and their slide deck is really long, so I've been trying to figure out exactly what they're asking for. And I recommend maybe that we break this down into voting on each piece rather than the whole package, because it's so complex.
Sure.
But
can I ask the question if there is one particular piece that committee members are finding less palatable why don't we do the less palatable one first?
Well, if we were worried about creating new positions because we don't wanna spend the money, I think we should look into the fact that they asked for $332,000 for three new positions.
And so, yeah, once we just, to speak to that, I see what you're saying there, because it's also like we're in an environment where nobody can hire anybody, and I've been in 4 meetings about that today. So I think that that is logical, and then the curriculum and things are, requirements within the infrastructure and, you know, except for the one piece where like the athletic trainer was also a representative.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that the three positions are, back to them, the three positions were originally 4 positions, they've decided for whatever reason not to add the 4th position, I don't recall why. The curriculum director was to administer the new curriculum that they're asking for in another line. The canine head trainer, they talked about that, and the athletic trainer, they talked about that. These are 3 very specific positions for very specific needs. And I believe their hope, at least with the curriculum director and the athletic trainer, was to avoid other costs that would be incurred. For instance, if they had to contract out for a curriculum director to administer this new curriculum. And in the case with the athletic trainer, potentially be paying a lot in workman's comp
Yes.
for
Yeah.
individuals who are slightly injured on the job, and which could be picked up earlier. So if we're talking about positions that are just like staff positions, but we're not really sure what role they're gonna fill, I have an issue with that. For specific positions, I'm 50% on board with that. Because I can see the need when they articulate specific reasons why they need these individuals.
Yes.
And they did break out in their verbal ask, they broke out the RFPs. There's one big whole list on their slide deck that's 803,000, but they broke it out into 700,000 and then 103,000. Because the ones in 103 were seemingly more important to them. Their slide deck is hard to follow. So I don't know how we really want to approach our decision making on this. If you look at the big slide, which if I had page numbers, is page 19, I think, of their slide deck. Of the $800,000, $803,000 breakdown, it's a bunch of small stuff.
Yeah.
That they've asked for.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it adds up to $700,000.
No, I understand.
Or 803, however you're looking at it.
I mean, there's still a no position to take on this. That's an option, is what I'm saying, it doesn't have to be an up or down.
No position.
I'm just trying, did they like prioritize, like either, you know, in some kind of way that was like, this is, we feel like we have to have this, nice to have kind of thing, or that they were.
We
They
asked him
told
that
us-
question.
Yeah, I think they told
Look
us.
up, down, look up, down, please, yeah, double time.
I don't know what's happening, so go ahead, BL.
Oh, and that was responding to the, do we know if they had priorities or what's nice to have? The EV charging station, they said it would be nice to have because there's police departments with EVs, but they don't necessarily have to drive their EVs to the school, but it would be nice to have.
Sure. And that is enumerated, right?
That
Did
is
a bundle ask, and it's not.
That's-
It's in a-
in the breakdown list.
I
So-
wish they.
Non-position position,
Well, there are a couple things that they've asked for specifically.
yes,
$8,000
Yes.
for language access,
I think
which
that's an easy ask because language access stuff is required.
Right, because we will hear from the Office of Racial Equity that
That
we need
needs that,
language access services.
so the 8,000,
Is anybody,
objecting to the 8,000 for language access?
No.
Yes, please put that in.
curriculum, was that something that
That
they
sounds like
said
it was
was required, right?
correct,
They
that is
have-
something that we've been trying to like wrap up, and that is curriculum development for the, good stuff.
So that's the,
So I have a note
That's
on
a
that.
$300,000.
okay, the curriculum request, and we said that's something that they're obligated to do anyway.
That's my
It's a project that's been
Okay.
ongoing for a long time and needs to get wrapped up.
Okay,
I have a note on that, that the curriculum development, they asked for 1.5 million, they were granted 1.2 million, which left the balance of 300,000.
That's what I'm saying.
Which would have helped pay for other materials, tasers, and something, I can't read my handwriting. Something their special suits, their,
That's enumerated in the 700,000. Or the 803, however.
well, I
you
have that
want
with
it.
the 300,000, balance for other materials, tasers, and JED suits, JED something.
Red band
man
suits.
Oh, red suits,
Yeah,
that's what it
that's
says,
all in
red
the
suits.
803.
Okay. All right, well, that's what I have on my notes.
So the 300,000 was definitely a curriculum item. And I think it was just curriculum, if I'm not mistaken. But
these are all the things that we're.
my confusion comes with, and I know I asked this, and I think I'm still confused now looking at their slide deck. There's a difference between the 700,000 in RFPs and 103,000 in
Extra RF.
extra RFPs. And they don't have it broken out like that on their slide deck.
So with that being said, that they're looking for 803,000 for RFPs, could we just maybe reduce it to 500,000 and say, here's what you got to use, or 400,000, or? I think the three,
I wonder if the 103 is one-time RFPs. Um. Yeah, my apologies, I just don't remember their answer. Of why there was 103 broken out of that 803. So I wonder if the RFPs, we should have a no position on that. That would maybe no position because there's so many that are so many different requests. Like, I like your idea, Sandy, but I don't wanna just start pulling
For all the,
money out of a hat that we don't have.
yeah, for all the criminal justice council stuff.
Just for this, the 803.
I
all the
agree, Lisa.
RFPs.
Right, so I think we agreed that the curriculum, we had to do yes, or we wanted to do yes, do we
Yeah,
all
the
come
lang-
up?
yeah,
Okay.
language, and then the
And the language is a
positions,
yes. And the what?
and the three positions.
We said yes to all of them?
We did not.
No, we didn't say yes to all of
We
them,
did
but
not say yes to the positions yet. We have outstanding $803,000 of RFPs that are in two different buckets from. I'm not.
That's 800, I thought it was 103.
plus
No,
the
there's
7.
7 on top of it.
Oh, the one above it,
And
okay.
103.
Okay,
And on their slide deck is all on one,
yeah,
all on one page, totaled up to 803. So that's why I'm not certain when they came in testimony, why the 103 was specifically broken out.
I wonder if at this point, we should say we have no position on
On
the
the
803,
RFPs.
yeah, and the
Yes.
332.
The 332, I think we should
Vote on that.
vote on that for sure.
Oh, okay,
So the 332 is 3 positions that they've identified that they think are necessary.
And I would agree with them, I think they're great programs.
I would agree with with them as well. I mean, I know something about law enforcement training as I've had family members who have gone through the law enforcement training. And I understand that having appropriate numbers of instructors is really crucial for the safety and, the safety of the recruits who are going through the training.
And just to have an athletic trainer there on duty, on staff when they're going through training, if somebody gets hurt, that doesn't kick them out of the program, they can help. You know. Not medicate, that's not the word I want, help treat a muscle or a small injury to help them, stay in the program, and I think that would be crucial, and then like he said, it would cut back on their workman's comp injuries and everything else.
So
It'd be
that's a
great to have a
trainer.
report back.
It's an athletic trainer, a canine head trainer to
Yeah.
take, he might have been absent for this testimony, but to take all the canine units in the state and train them all in a similar manner.
Consistency is good.
Coordinate that in a curriculum director, because they've been working on this new curriculum program for a couple of years now. And they somehow have to implement it.
Still,
I actually have notes on the cost savings of having a canine trainer,
Oh, good.
which if you give me a moment. I had to just think of it because I had asked them what it cost to train outside the state compared to having their own.
Yes.
And I believe there's 28 teams, and to train them and keep them qualified outside the state is approximately $270,000. If I find my notes.
we trust your memory.
Canine trainers. They have 27 teams, 16, 11, there's $270,000 to train them outside the state compared to the 114,247 for training them inside the state.
Okay, thank you for that information.
Approximately 10,000 a-
Saving.
Yes,
And currently, some of them do have to be trained out of state.
yes.
That's all what's.
There's 27 teams. The dogs have to be trained and have their training done. There's 16 detection teams and 11 patrol that are also, they're all patrol, but you have 16 more that are trained in detection. And you need to keep them up to date. Maintain the certifications.
I got my thumb up. Sandy's got her thumb in her mouth.
Yeah.
Oh, and I found my notes from when Christopher Brickle was here. Looking quickly at what I have. The current canine trainers, one person is doing a two-person job currently. So they were thinking that that's not sustainable going forward.
Should have had a cupcake or ice cream. You weren't thinking.
Oh, here we go. I've got the breakout of the 803,000.
Okay.
Okay, so there's $700,000 in various RFP items, which are on this table that they have provided for us, that total of 803,000. But if you remove out 103,000 of that, the 103 is a skid car system, an accessible building entry video system, and the EV charging system that you said that they could, it was nice to have, but they could do without. And if we look at that table, it was the EV charging station was $5,700, so we can put back that out. Of that, if we, out of that 103, if we really wanted to.
Yeah.
Because a couple of us heard that that was negotiable.
The other thing is the skid pad.
It is called a skid car system, and I'm trying to find it in here because it should be.
Here it is, Sid car system storage, 145,000.
Yes, that's it. 45,000.
Find a parking lot. Price and
I knew
water.
I had this somewhere, and the other was an accessible building entry video and intercom system.
Yeah, and that is down.
Well, that's more than-
Dale accessible building entry video and intercom system for
Yeah.
$5,000.
That seems
Yeah.
necessary. For accessibility.
But that's over
I think it's
100.
extra security. I think
You,
it's
we're
secure.
looking for
Ah,
103,000 and that's
Yeah.
150, that's 155,000.
We're on these guys.
Yeah, it is, so I don't know where they're getting the
Suggested.
103. Sorry,
Yeah,
it
that-
does not add up.
Look at that.
These are now being reconsidered.
But that's definitely how it was explained to us.
Yeah,
Yes.
Follow camera and mount training.
Unless he said something about the skid pump system and storage being separated, which in this, they're listed as $145,000 all.
Yeah.
As a package. But it's possible that that's broken out as well, and I'm not seeing it here.
that's cute.
This is a really great budget lesson for budget buddies, so like, you know, public safety is your thing, your area of expertise, this is when you've gotta really be focused on the testimony. Because everybody else might be getting bogged down in the details.
Okay.
Yeah, this one was mine. But I'm just walking in the door here, so I didn't catch everything you're saying.
So far, we're in agreement of the
300,000.
300,000 and the 8,000, and we discussed the 3 positions. I think we might be in agreement with that. We'll talk about the 803,000, the 700 and the 100.
Do we wanna go back to what we know, and that's the 3 positions for 332, and then go with the RFPs, we're taking no position, how you wanna spend whatever money appropriations gives you.
Gives you, you spend it accordingly. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good compromise.
Yeah.
There's none of the 103,000 from what we've talked about. Justification for it doesn't seem to even come close to that number.
Right, so I think I either took really bad notes or the,
They're hiding some waste, fraud, and abuse. You got, you wanna do some skid pad, you can go out in the winter and drive around.
Drive around those-
State.
Parking lot.
So
I agree.
so vote on the positions first.
I,
Cause we
yeah,
know that's 132,000.
yes,
Okay.
Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Thumbs up for 332.
for the positions, the
Yes.
3 extra positions.
Yeah.
Yes.
The curriculum.
Or do we wanna break out the positions? That's another option. Do we wanna say yes to 1, 2, or 3 of them?
I would suggest we say yes to 2
I would,
and not be the ones who decide which 2.
Nice.
Yeah.
Alright.
Let them sort it out, as somebody said earlier. Yeah, I can live with
Okay.
that.
Alright, thumbs up, thumbs down,
Yep.
okay. So you'll make a note of that. Okay, how about the RFPs? Do we just wanna say we have no position on
Correct.
these
I think that's what
individual
we say.
items and appropriations can give them what they think?
Yep.
Does that
Mhm.
sound
Yep.
okay?
give them the rest of the money, let them sort it
Did we say
out.
yes for this curriculum request?
Yes, we did. Because they
Sure.
kind of have to
Yeah,
continue that. They are already 2 years into the,
And we said yes
Cycle.
for the language access.
yes.
yeah,
And this, we're gonna cut by one position,
okay, and no position.
which is $114,000.
For the other two.
It could be 104 if they cut the
Right.
athletic.
Plus or
So there's
minus.
2 at 114 and 1 at 104.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so I'm just gonna go through this before I add this to the memo, just real quick. I think we're in agreement on all of these, but if I'm wrong, yell. It's $300,000 for the curriculum request is a yes.
Yeah.
We're taking no position on the $700,000 and the $103,000 for the. We are saying yes on the $8,000 for the language access. And we are saying for these 3 important positions, we are saying yes to 2 important positions, and they are going to decide which 2 of those. Right?
Yep.
Are we all in agreement about all of that?
Can we
Yep.
say that we recommend that the athletic trainer be one of them?
I think we can leave it up to them.
Well, I thought it was athletic support.
Oh, athletic trainer.
Okay,
No,
so
no.
I think we only have one more item left on our spreadsheet. Is it?
I have 3,
Water
the
something?
cannabis.
We
I
have
believe
cannabis and
The top one, we have is the land access and
Oh,
opportunity
yeah.
board.
Yes,
we defer.
so that one, at this moment in time,
No
we
position.
are, I'll just say it, I'm not recommending that one, and I think we have some agreement that we need to know more about it. I briefly talked to the chair about it, and
Just
they could not provide us with hard numbers. They could not tell us what the return on investment would be, understandably, because it's a program that doesn't necessarily show tangible results, but it is a lot of money. And $5.6 million, and I personally have to have some real results.
Yep,
And
me too.
the program's been ongoing for a little bit, so anybody else? Boyd?
Yeah, and just throwing off of that too, with the excise transfer from the general fund, that 4.035 million. I have some concerns about that and how it also affects the funding for after school and pension that is also reserved through the excise tax, and how that factors into the rest that's transferred into the general fund for other budgetary matters.
So are you just specifically commenting on the land access and opportunity board money right now?
I'm commenting on the 25% that they requested be transferred.
Because it's going to affect the other transfer that happens.
Yeah, so I was talking to Chair Pepper about this, that depending on how appropriations factors in the formula of everything, something will get shortcutted, whether that be after school or prevention, or land use, land opportunity, or my brain is tired.
Did you have your hand up? Any other comments? I appreciate that because I wasn't part of that conversation, but after school is really important stuff, so we don't necessarily want to jeopardize that in any way.
Yeah, and we would have a say in that, would be back at the appropriations committee. But it's just something that factors into all of the, what we reserve the general fund transfer for.
And currently there's a 20% transfer rate. But they were asking for 25%.
I believe they said that they asked for 20% last year. I don't believe there is a transfer that goes to them.
Okay.
Okay, so are we going to do, are we gonna do thumbs up, thumbs down on saying, at this time a no for the land access opportunity board?
Should.
Mhm.
Nobody has any additional comments. Bob, you look like you're thinking.
Are we going to say no or are we voting no?
Oh,
Different.
yes, it's the way you phrase it. If we want to give them the $5.6 million, we will give a thumbs
Yes.
up. If we think we do not want to give it to them at this time, we will do thumbs down.
Okay.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, go.
Okay,
So no.
and I think that that's it because
Mhm.
the other items.
We do.
What about the Cannabis Equity Coalition?
The
Um,
$1
what-
million.
Yeah,
And we talked about that earlier, but maybe we didn't. Maybe
Yeah, I thought
we
those were
did.
all the things, the yeses.
well, those are transfers,
For
we
the
got the
transfers.
transfers, but the
Yeah.
coalition is not, is it? They had a 500,000, now they're asking for $1 million, so it's an increase of 500.
Oh, thank you, yeah.
Yeah.
Rep. Whiten, can you speak to that at all? That's the excise tax revenue going to the Cannabis Business Development Fund.
I don't know if I can speak to it, cause I thought that was the excise tax that was coming. Cause the
It is.
cannabis, the control board, they do their operational cost and then transfer it to the general fund, similar to how the Department of Liquor and Lottery operated.
Yeah.
It specifically goes to a Cannabis Business Development Fund, which
Is that
helps.
what we?
Yeah, it's the
Or-
cannabis excise tax revenue to the cannabis business development fund, that's what it's.
So no longer to the general fund.
Right, because this is a fund for cannabis businesses starting up, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm remembering correctly.
What do you think, Bob?
But on the flip side, I thought they wanted to put a moratorium on.
Yeah,
Well, I think that the whole cannabis industry thing is still such in flux that we should probably just
Defer it.
let it percolate for a while and
Yep.
not take a position.
I
I
concur.
agree with that.
So no position
Yep.
Yeah,
or not recommend the
Increase.
increase of $500,000.
Yeah, not recommend.
That's not recommended.
well, I do have something to say about that, which is that I think, from my point of view, I think that a lot of people who are entering into this, into these businesses are making, even someone said this morning, they're making a switch from operating in what used to be an illegal space to operating in a legal space. And they are people maybe who don't necessarily have the business training or the support for these things. And if we want them to be successful, I believe, and we want these businesses to do well, which we do, because then we have money for the state and then we have people who are employed and who are small business owners and doing all of these things. I think that it's kind of just throwing them to the wolves, be like, here you go, here's your license, start a business. And then not providing the support that people really need to, on the business end of it, like they might be very good at raising the plants, but need some assistance in that business
I would agree,
realm.
would agree with that if, one, if it were possible to separate it out, but two, I still think we're gonna see massive shifts in the business end of it as where it goes. I mean, if you look at Burlington, there are 7 shops within 20 blocks of each other. And they're gonna settle out and those licenses are probably gonna go someplace else.
I don't believe this is solely for retail licenses.
No,
I
I
Oh,
don't
okay.
either, but retail is the end of
Yeah.
people making money.
I'll play devil's advocate, and maybe I'm missing the point, but I see what you're saying, Shay. However, comment, how many other entities or types of fields of work do we give this kind of money to?
Say that again?
How many other fields or entities of work types do we give this kind of money
Can
to?
I answer him?
Sure.
Yeah,
If you have some insight, I'd love to hear.
My
Yeah.
notes are that the Cannabis Business Development Fund, I should know this, is strictly for underrepresented populations. So
Oh,
we do
yeah, I
have
did see.
other business grants that are given to underrepresented populations. So I think our decision here is, do we want to raise it by double to $1 million? Do we want to keep it at 500,000 or do we want to say nothing more?
It's,
So that three choices, I think.
leave it.
Level funded?
I'd say we should increase it because we keep hearing the industries in this moment in time where people are struggling and it's kind of now that this first year or two is over and people are just figuring out where they are. I think helping the businesses that exist and helping the people who are getting started and moving in maybe to the next phase of having these businesses, I just think that like helping especially underrepresented populations, helping them be as successful as possible after it sort of renders everything meaningless before this if we don't give them the opportunity and don't give them the funds that they need, because we're saying here, look, here are these licenses, you get these first because you've been wrongly and unjustifiably put in this terrible position, and now we're gonna help you, but we're only gonna help you this much, and then you're on your own. Like, I don't know, I vote in, or I will recommend the full million.
I might be forgetting this, so apologies, but it would be helpful, I think, for me, did we get like any report of how they've been using it before, like what it's going towards and like the evaluation of its success in the last
Do
year?
you know if it's in the cannabis report, their annual report from the CCB?
I mean, they did reference it today on some of the work that they're doing to help transition the market from what it was before illegally to now legal. And especially those people of color who have a difficult time starting a business or are looking to acquire land, maybe just the land.
Do we have data that shows there are people that are trying to do that and are being denied, so to speak, or not having a bite at the apple, or I don't know a better way to say it? Because if we don't have that data, then I'd say we're kind of pitching money for them to do whatever they want with it, is kind of my thoughts, that maybe it doesn't get directed that way. Again, playing devil's advocate on that. I just trying to,
Yeah,
I want to make sure we don't just go, feed the paper tiger, as they say, just shovel money at it. Because we do that too readily in many areas, in my opinion, but
To me,
not we,
$1 million.
not necessarily all of us, but I think we as a body at times tend to do that.
Demonstrate the need is. You fill a need, you don't create one.
Sandy, did you have?
I was just
something?
gonna say, I mean, just $1 million just seems like a lot of money to help. Where, I mean, how many businesses are we talking about? I mean,
Where it was the level, to level it would be 500.
yeah.
Yes. VL?
I'm with level funding it right now at the 500. And I understand where it's going. But we also took testimony on the licenses. They want to limit those number of licenses to 80 right now because the market is flooded. And businesses are failing because the market is flooded. If we give the market a chance to level out, we can always
Look at it in a year.
supplement that fund in a year. But if we level fund it, they have something for the few more that might start this year. That's my opinion on it.
That's a reasonable look, I think.
To me, just $1 million seems like a lot for how many businesses are gonna be starting up.
Is that,
well,
Yeah, just having a sense of where it's going to. We have-
did they spend the last one?
And,
Yeah, that's true,
maybe
too.
they'll say, you should have looked at the report more closely. And I apologize if anybody's listening to this, that I have not looked at that report that closely, because we probably have 100 reports that we're supposed to be. looking
Sure.
at. That's not a good excuse, but
I,
there's only so many hours in the day.
But I think 500 is better than 0.
yeah, I just,
really be interested in knowing how much they spent out of 500,000 or whatever they got before. Because if they're not finding a use for it, then throwing another 500,000 in the pot.
well, I think they asked
But I would
for
go,
more because they could use it. That's my understanding, that they asked for more because they could use it. I just want to read to you what the the fund does, the Business Development Fund. It provides low interest rate loans and grants to social equity applicants to pay for ordinary and necessary expenses to start and operate a licensed cannabis establishment, to pay for outreach that may be provided or targeted to attract and support social equity applicants, to assist with job training and technical assistance for social equity applicants, and to pay for necessary costs incurred in administering the fund. I don't want to not support the social equity. And I feel like if they're asking for extra money, it's because they need it. And those are not the people that I want to deny the support and the funds that they need.
But with the tightness of the budget this year, I'd say it kind of comes back to the Rolling Stones song. Can't always get what you want, you get what you need. And there's a little bit of truth to that. So if we're being a little bit equally stingy, I think, like we were in a couple other areas, I think we have to use some level of parity would be the word that's me.
So hearing what you said, I think we're gonna take a little vote on this, hearing what
Yeah.
you just said,
Yeah.
that instead of increasing someone's funding, any group's funding, we will consider, because it is a worthy cause,
Yeah, we're not saying it's not a worthy cause.
We're going to level fund it.
Correct.
And that's our recommendation, and House Appropriations can do what they want.
Sure.
Thumbs up, thumbs down. Okay, thank you all so much,
Thank you, Sharon.
because you are very collaborative and cooperative and polite about it and thoughtful. So thank you all very
Good
much.
job,
This was
guys.
really tough, and I hope next year's is not as tough, because we'll have a spreadsheet prepared properly in advance.
I would just like to note, again, Representative Hengo's spreadsheet skills, they are
Still-
extraordinary.
still very good.
I literally put you looking at that, I swear.
I can't
Thank you.
And I thought that was your intern.
I wouldn't say it was easy.